Hello and welcome to The Sensitive Warrior, where feeling everything is your superpower. Hi, I'm Doreen Lang. I am your host. I'm also author of Embracing Venus, Achieve a Life Lit Up for Highly Sensitive People. This is my book cover. It's available on Amazon. I'm also a coach helping highly sensitive people thrive. And I'm also a Reiki master. I have a studio in Norwell, Massachusetts, but I do help people out of state, and of course that can all be done virtually. So this is what we do. I'm very excited to introduce my guest today, but just before I do, I just want to give you a brief idea of what highly sensitive people are. Because so many people say to me, I love your shows, but what is it? So just in a nutshell, highly sensitive people have a highly sensitivity processing sensitivity. I know, what is that? But you're born with it. You could have brown eyes, blue eyes, you're a highly sensitive person. And since it's only 15 to 20% of the population, you don't hear too much about it, but you sure may know people that struggle with it. And why? Because being a highly sensitive person, you may be sensitive to sounds. You may be sensitive to smells, to crowds. And what really, of course, hit me and why I started this journey is because I'm very sensitive to emotions. This can feel extremely overwhelming, the energy of people, and because of it, you can get very stressed out. And overwhelm is the stick that breaks our back. So people will go to Reiki, and I'll help them with that. Our guest today will talk about how he helps people with this as well. And this is a real sensitivity situation for people. However, the real challenge is overwhelm. So you've got the greatness of this cool sensitivity, but the overwhelm is kind of the hard part. But the also amazing part is our intuition is so deep and so incredible. And some of us have such deep intuition that some of us are considered, and that is what I'm considered and that I have understood about myself, is an empath, and I'm sure you've heard of that. And that's people who can literally feel, unknowingly, sometimes unwantingly, feel other people's pain in their own body. But again, the beautiful part is you could be highly intuitive. You can walk in a room and you can look at somebody's eyes and know exactly how they're feeling. And that's not just anybody. So there's some wonderful parts to all of this. But to kind of help you get clarity around this, I'm bringing in some very interesting guests to kind of help us from a different perspective. So I hope to either entertain, inspire, or educate you today. So enough about me. I want to introduce Edward Anthony. Edward Anthony is, he opened a studio. He started a soul healing business, and it's called Nature's Way, and it's health and wellness. And he helps highly sensitive people and a lot more people than highly sensitive. But welcome.
Thank you. Good to meet you.
So nice to have you.
Thank you.
This is so great because I work so hard at my modalities, Reiki and coaching, but you do that and so much more. Well, I'm not sure you're doing coaching, but you're doing things I don't do.
Yeah.
So let me kind of jump right into it. So what actually led you to Qigong, and how has that transformed your life?
Yeah. Well, back in 2013, I had moved over to San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was living there in the middle of a divorce. A corporate job had been taken away from me. I was there for 8 years. And here I am doing a relocation. We were both living down in Florida. And I moved over to San Francisco. I had already been doing yoga and meditation for quite some time.
Okay.
And then I met a couple of Taoist masters. They are traditional Chinese medicine doctors, actually.
And where was that?
In San Francisco,
Okay.
in Palo Alto, actually.
Okay.
At the Longevity Center with Arnold Tyam and with Jerry Allen Johnson. And I also met my current teacher, Dr. and Master Qigong Sha. Qigong is amazing.
Yeah, tell people, because I want to say I know what it's all about. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Qigong, when the Taoist masters were actually practicing Tai Chi, it was for martial purposes, to defend themselves in a rural setting,
Sure.
Time of warring states and things like that. What they learned at the same time is that power and that energy that's going through their body can also heal people. And they knew it was negative karma if they hurt somebody, and they didn't try to heal them. So they wanted to avoid the negative karma. Even before traditional Chinese medicine started using needles, this was the preferred method by traditional Chinese doctors. They would use the energy that comes through your meridian system that they connected with the Tao. Let me be clear about what the Tao is. It's written by the Tao Te Ching. His name is, he was a philosopher, Lao Tzu, 5,000 years ago. Something very simple. What he wrote is there's something up there. He couldn't define it specifically, but he knew that what it was is something that we're all connected with. Einstein came up with a phrase which probably tells us the best. It's a field. We are in a field altogether. Whether you see this and this looks like nothing, I'm sorry. You can't see all light. In a light spectrum, you see 1/10,000th of a light spectrum. That's coming from the sun, all planets, stars, galaxies, and universes. Now this sounds like huge.
So you're talking universal energy here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Endowed for preferred method by the Chinese, they started using this information, this energy, and they found out that, okay, we have a meridian system that allows us to heal ourselves, self-healing. How you can move this energy. Well, the negative emotions get stuck in these organs. Could be your liver, which is associated with anger, our heart, which is associated with anxiety and depression, here in our spleen, in our stomach, with doubt and kind of like preoccupation with things.
I wonder how they made those connections, because I do understand that, especially giving Reiki, but it's so interesting you say that. So you can almost touch your feet and talk about another place that people are holding energy.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
When it gets stuck, it really comes from our connection with our soul. Our soul, just like you said, my intuition, that's our soul. It is speaking to us.
I love that, yeah.
And the thing is what gets in the way is this polluted mind called our ego. It's been programmed. And then the soul is trying to express itself. And when we connect with that through Qigong, what we're able to do is take that anxiety and depression, and everything has a yin and yang. So when we work with that yin and yang, let's say for anxiety in our heart, which is the fire element, we can shift that over to joy. The same with fear, that they found out is a water element in the kidneys. We can move fear into calm. See, when you become a human being, it's all yin and yang. Everything is yin and yang.
It really is just like Reiki. It's all about the balance, right?
It's about the balance. It's not negative in any way.
Right, right.
Nothing's negative and nothing's positive.
Although it can feel pretty negative.
Well, the feeling
exactly
is awkward, right?
Right.
Emotion. Emotions can be positive too.
Right.
They're not just negative.
Right.
But they come from the information that's fed through our whole system. 3 treasures in traditional Chinese medicine is called Shen, Qi, and Jing. Shen is basically made up of our soul, our heart, the essence of who we are, not our anatomical art, the essence of who we are, and our mind, the consciousness. Consciousness meaning a lot of the things we are conscious of has been programmed into us. And then energy,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and that energy, and then into our matter, our tissues, ligaments, tendons, muscles, bones, and things like that. But that message that goes through all the way from our soul, it starts with our soul. If that message is negative, it's going to go through into the essence of who we are. It's going to go into our consciousness. We're going to have a negative message. And then it goes into the energy. The energy is the actioner. It's the one that takes an action. The soul is the content of the information. This is all quantum physics. This isn't woo-woo spirituality. No. This is quantum physics. We're past the Newtonian physics stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Modern medicine hasn't caught up.
No.
And the thing is when we start looking at that message going through the soul, the heart receives that message. You could do that in meditation any single time. But usually it's the brain right? That monkey mind. But when we get into that stillness state, where the information comes in, it's coming from a different place, at a higher consciousness than what Edward is or who Doreen is. It is something greater. And when that comes in at that conscious level in the mind, and it's positive, then we activate that action, and then we come out and we can heal and transform at the tissue level. But not only can we heal and transform with that conscious understanding and the mind and the energy, we can manifest. When you have that positive outlook that something's going to occur in your life, okay, and you're open to whatever that may be, and it drops right in front, and you're grateful, as opposed to, oh, you know, that wasn't really what I was looking for. But that's what you asked for.
Right. So tell me about Qigong with this then. So tell me, because that's a wonderful background, because I think people really can understand that whole connectivity.
Sure.
So now tell us about the actual Qigong method.
Yeah. So Qigong, we can administer this ourselves. In our hands, if you bend your fingers down like this, you have 2 acupuncture points. They're called Laogong points. And the energy right here can shift the energy anywhere in the body. And like I said, the negative emotions are stored in these organs. What also helps this frequency and vibration to shift is a mantra. A mantra is just basically a chant of a phrase, but it's there for protection and prevention.
It's so funny you say that. You hear people say that all the time. You know, the mantras, and people that roll their eyes, okay, to say the same. But words are very powerful to hear, to speak and hear on our own. It's very, very powerful to hear that message, that positive message that we're sharing with each other. I noticed that, because I was reading on your website, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm really curious to know. You had talked about helping people that have had trauma.
Yeah.
Children, adults,
Yeah.
Addictions,
Yeah.
kind of all of that,
Yeah.
right? So how do you help people, and of course, highly sensitive people who
Sure.
are having the anxiety? What kinds of things, or even on a not such a high level, even though it gets there?
Yeah.
But what would you what do you look at for people when they kind of come to you and they really got to get started? They have to start to clear and start to feel better. How do you help them?
Yeah, trauma. Let's just talk about trauma.
Yeah.
Okay. Trauma is kind of looking at things and what negatively happened to us. But you know something? A lot of our trauma has provided us lessons and wisdom.
Sure.
You know,
like everything, right? Like everything, lessons.
And if we look at that trauma, how do I do that? Right? Through calligraphy. Amazing stuff. This right here.
I love calligraphy.
You find calligraphy in every culture in the world.
Is that right?
Yes.
Never really thought about that.
Europe, Arabia, India, China, Thailand, Iran, every culture in the world uses some form of calligraphy. Even in when you look at Hebrew, it's a calligraphy.
Yeah, it's very beautiful too. There's something very beautiful about it. I don't know, I can't explain it. It's just a feeling. What is that? Tell us about
that. That feeling. It's symbology. It symbolizes something, just like Carl Jung used to say, and it goes internally to our unconscious. It impacts our unconscious. Our unconscious can be defined just like this. It's our soul.
It's what?
It's our soul.
Our soul.
Unconscious, our unconscious, makeup, or our subconscious, that these images hit. It hits those archetypes like he was talking about.
So you brought that in for a reason today.
Yeah.
So tell us why you brought that in.
This is Da-I, the greatest love. It's the first of 10 Das. Das are the greatest qualities that human beings can live by. Greatest love. It's the love. The greatest love is unconditional love. It's just like the Tao, the source, the creator, makes stars, planets, galaxies, and universes. But it also makes plants.
So pronounce that for us.
Da, greatest. I, love. AI, love. These here I use on Friday. I was over at the Accord School with attention deficit disordered children between 5th grade and 8th grade. They also have mental health challenges as well.
Sure.
And some of them are there with autistic symptoms, maybe diagnosis. We trace this. I have a big scroll.
Oh, they must have loved that.
You trace it with your fingers, which represent the 5 elements. So when you trace Da-I, it's as simple as this. I mean, this is easy and it's self-healing. You know, people are kind of looking at this probably like skeptical, you know?
Sure, of course they are.
It's new. It's new.
Of course.
It's art beyond art. Tracing and chanting the mantra, okay? There's scientific proof that this works. My teacher, Dr. and Master Shah, has a website. It's called Shah's Research Foundation. We've used this in clinical trials to show that it can have an impact on people that have cancer, mental health challenges.
Okay, so just a minute.
Yeah.
Are you talking about somebody that may be suffering with this, and it's the simple act of tracing this, or is it how can they use this?
Yeah, sure. It's connecting with something greater yourself. The symbol represents Da-I, unconditional love. And the phrase that goes along with this is this: love melts all blockages. For instance, I would do this like this with the kids, all right? Big calligraphy right in front of them. Mm-hmm. Take your fingers and take all 5. Put them together, which represents the 5 elements. And they go like this. You chant the mantra. Da-I, 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 Da-I. Greatest love, greatest love, greatest love, greatest love. You're connecting with the greatest love, which permeates the entire universe. You're connecting using a mantra, shaking up the frequency and vibration in your body.
That's beautiful.
Releasing.
It's very melodic. It has a beautiful feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you feel as I was doing that?
I felt like I was connected to something much more important. And it was also very relaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peaceful. Peaceful.
When you look at the stages of our, behaviors, Richard Dawkins wrote a couple books himself. He's a kinesiologist. You may have heard of him, 70s, 80s. Medical doctor, PhD, Stanford. I was down at Stanford. I worked there for like 10 years. He's an amazing individual. But what he said is love is a very high frequency and vibration. So when you get into this vibration of love, you're raising your frequency and vibration out of what? Anger, blame, guilt, that trauma that is still stuck in the body, the abandonment, rejection, betrayal, all those things, right? But when you get up to love, you know what's even higher than love?
Peace.
Exactly. And that peace can be found in this, but it also will be found in that meditative state where there's complete stillness of mind and body. It's right in between those thoughts, that stillness. That is the eventual place that you will get to where everything stops, and it's called the emptiness. In that emptiness is the peace beyond all peace.
It's so interesting you say that. I want to interject here. When I am with people in my studio, like yourself, and I am giving Reiki, providing Reiki to somebody, and I can see their face. You know, I'm giving Reiki, I can see. Sometimes people have trouble with their monkey mind, but sometimes you can see, you can tell they've gone. And I can see that they're emptying. It's then where, after they come out, they've told me that they were able to connect.
Yes.
They were able to bring in a loved one.
Yes.
They were able to see someone they've been missing that they really, really miss.
Yeah.
And also, what's interesting, and see if you kind of agree with me, is sometimes they'll come up with that solution. Something will come in their mind, even at practical.
Yeah.
That they finally have made that space for themselves that we help people with.
Yeah.
Because they can't get there on their own.
No.
I mean, and I'm not blaming, because sometimes I can't. I have to be intentional about my quiet, right? So tell me about the other things. So people come see you, right?
Yeah.
You have classes.
Yeah.
You have classes with groups of people.
Workshops. We do them at Nature's Way Health and Wellness.
And that's in Plymouth.
In Plymouth. Sometimes I go to yoga studios. I just mentioned I'm over at the Accord School. I'm going to be in February 3rd over at the John P. Harrington outreach over in Marshfield, teaching Qigong classes to a men's group. There's probably about 20 people there.
That's wonderful.
So it's new.
It's new.
It's new. It's not something that's common.
No.
I'm very familiar with how to approach this. One of the things that I do that's really important is this. When you come and you have trauma or you have a negative emotion, it's usually because it's related to we were with an individual or somebody else.
And what about illness? Do people come to you with illness as well? With the
physical illness, mental, spiritual illness, okay? Rather than going into the deep spiritual illness.
But the physical too, people are definitely looking for answers, right?
And they can find answers, and it's in this: forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
First, Da'ai, greatest love. Second is forgiveness. It's forgiving the other person. They were suffering. They were taught and programmed by someone or someone ancestral, okay? And forgiveness is like my mom or my dad.
You had mentioned your mom earlier.
Yeah. My dad was an alcoholic. He left when I was 3. He came back when I was 22 years old. There was a lot of pain that I went through. As soon as he came back, he had cancer. I forgave him. He wasn't equipped to be a father. He wasn't equipped to be a husband. He wasn't equipped and able.
Not everybody is. Just because they can make babies doesn't mean they should be.
And forgiveness heals and transforms. What it brings is that inner peace and joy that we were talking about.
It is. It's so incredible. Now, is Qigong, I guess I'm picturing movements.
You can.
So, so if you want, I think we have a little time. Tell me a little bit about, like, what? So what?
So, I'll show you one. Very simple one, right? We have chakras internally, okay? First chakra all the way up to the top. But each one has a frequency and vibration. In yoga, they're called bija mantras. In Qigong, it's basically it's called the Zhengmai. Each one has a frequency and vibration. First one, He. Second one, Hung. Third one, Hong. Heart, Ah. Throat chakra is Shi, Xi. Yi, and then Wang. Putting it all together in the back of your body at the L4, it's called the Mingmen point, the gate of life. When you put those together, and you do that practice, you can heal all sicknesses and prevent sicknesses because you're moving that energy throughout the body. You're moving the energy in the spaces. It goes like this. Hey hung hung a shi wang yo. 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 That's the Qi channel. What that does, it heals all sickness. When you do it in the opposite direction, it's called the Jing channel. That's for rejuvenation and transformation. And then you have other ones too, and other practices. And like I mentioned to you before, you can take this and put it over one of these organs. This is physics. Lower density, higher density. Do the mantra that's relative to anger. It's called Shu, X-U. That mantra, and just doing Shu, and you can tap. Just tapping. It's like when you drop a drop of water into a cup and it rippling effect in the water. We're 70% water.
Right.
When you tap like this.
Right, the vibration continues.
Exactly.
Right.
Frequency and vibration, you're shifting it.
So a woman came to me last week, and she was just diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer.
Sure.
And I was believe it or not, I was thinking about you, because I was thinking about how I was going to give her Reiki, and then I want to talk to her about other modalities.
Yes.
So how would you work with someone like her?
So, usually how the symptoms of cancer come about, there was a significant psychological event that probably happened 3 years before, determining what that was. And most times when people get a cancer, it has a lot to do with anger. Anger isn't just about the emotion. It also has to do with the inflammation that comes with it. What happens is that the anger gets stuck in between two cells. And in between those cells, it gets inflamed. And so the anger is fire. And it makes that anger. Where is the anger coming from? And is it anger towards someone else? Or is it anger towards oneself?
So you give them that explanation, Edward, which is brilliant, because it probably makes sense, absolutely feels real to them, right? They can look back and they can say, sure.
Mm-hmm.
How do you help them move forward?
Forgiveness. Forgiving the other individual, forgiving themselves.
Is this a state of mind, or would you say this is an exercise that you have them create in their own body?
Yeah, you can do forgiveness anytime. You know, the forgiveness practice is a very simple. I do this every Sunday night on Meetup. Every Sunday night, I've been doing it for 6 years. I had 5 people last night, all new, and we were doing the forgiveness practice. Forgiveness is very simple. And then I do a Qigong practice on Wednesday nights on Meetup as well. It's called Quantum Shift Dynamics.
Boy, there's so much. I'll make sure people know about you. So tell me about the forgiveness.
When you do the forgiveness and you're going to work with things like breast cancer, first working with the forgiveness. Because it's in the chest area, that's relative to the metal element. So there's some sorrow and grief there. There may have been some loss, right? Sometimes.
Sure.
I don't know the individual. I haven't taken a full assessment. But when I hear these types of diagnoses that are coming from doctors, I don't do diagnosis. Doctors do the diagnosis.
Right.
Full disclosure, full disclaimer.
Oh, right. No, that's not your position.
I'm not doing any medical diagnosis. When they come with me with their diagnosis, then I'm able to work with treatments.
Yeah.
And Qigong.
Right.
And with meditation.
Right. As a supplemental modality.
Exactly. So that these individuals get empowered.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So we're wrapping up soon, but not just quite yet.
Yeah.
Can you, since we talked about forgiveness so much, and you are put this as number 2, but right up there with such a critical component to healing. Is there a certain mantra you speak to with forgiveness? Is this something that you practice as well?
Yeah. So with forgiveness, it's Da Kuan Shu. This book here, Greatest Forgiveness. This calligraphy that's right on there.
Now, is this your book, Edward, or is this?
No, this is my teacher. His name is Dr. and Master Qigong Sha.
Beautiful. Okay.
He wrote it with his lineage holder, Cynthia DeVreau. Okay. He's up in Toronto, Canada. Okay. And then this is one of his master leading teachers,
and what's the name of that book?
This book is called Greatest Forgiveness. And this is how you get to that point of inner joy and inner peace through forgiveness.
And I interrupted you. So what is the mantra? How do you help people? Because they're listening to you right now and they're saying, okay, I want to work with Edward, but give me an idea of this.
Sure. So before you start the mantra, you do an invocation. You have to connect. You have to let the mind settle. And when you make that connection, I won't go through the whole invocation. Those invocations are in this book. But the thing is here's the mantra. It's as easy as something like this. You could place your hand over your heart because it's a heart-to-heart connection. and your hand over your lower abdomen, because this is where a lot of the energy is stored. And when you actually do this, you connect these two things. It's the yin and yang. And you just basically do like this. I deeply apologize. Please forgive me. Bring love, peace, harmony. Bring love, peace, and harmony. Love, peace, and harmony is such a high frequency and vibration. Asking for forgiveness, granting forgiveness to people, it disconnects us energetically from the other.
Really interesting. And even your voice, you know, just the vibrato at the end, that vibration.
Yeah.
Right? It's everyone's capable of that. They just really need to practice.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I chant and sing every day.
Yeah.
And the mantra that I sing is love, peace, and harmony. Very simple. You can download that at lovepeaceandharmonyfoundation.org. Put it on your phone. I put it in my bedroom so that the frequency and vibration envelops the entire surroundings. It's so that I'm walking in a field of love, peace, and harmony. It goes like this. Can I chant love, peace, and harmony with you?
Of course.
Watch it. Very simple. I do this with the kids. We do some movements like this.
So great.
So easy. A chant, a mantra.
Let's do it.
It goes like this. Same hand, connect with the source, and it goes like this. I love my heart and soul. I love all humanity. Join hearts and souls together. Love, peace, and harmony. Love, peace, and harmony. Yesterday, we chanted 24 hours for the people that are suffering in Palisades in LA. They're going through a lot. Global warming is happening. Chanting a mantra for them to be at peace. They're going through a catastrophe. This is how we serve in the world. You can chant love, peace, and harmony for everyone, and the frequency and vibration will go to them. Our heart connection with those that are suffering. That's compassion.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
I'd love you to come on again. I do have clients, and people come to me and they're in pain with the politics. And they're in pain. They're in pain on that level, but so many. So would you come on again? I'd love you to come on and talk about how we can help people touch others.
Absolutely.
And make the world a better place. And you're doing that every day. So.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make sure that, you know.
Thank you. Yes,
this is for you. And
this is my gift today.
Yes.
So I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm excited. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming in. And thank you so much for joining me for the Sensitive Warrior. And again, feeling everything is your superpower. But if you would like to connect with Edward, who wouldn't, please reach out to me at Doreen@blossomhealingstudio.com, and I will connect you the same day. And if you'd like to go deeper into your sensitivity and find out different ways how I can work with you to gain clarity around this incredible gift, reach out to me as well at Doreen@blossomhealingstudio.com. Thank you very much, and peace be with you. Till next time. Thank you.